guys, how's it going? So today, there's a couple things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the economy and what we regard as our economic institution, and also I want to talk about slowing down. Okay, so slowing down to me is an integral part of refining our senses and attuning ourselves to our unique gifts as individuals and as souls in these bodies. So, the rise in popularity with things like meditation, mindfulness, yoga, I believe is part of this mass spiritual awakening. Whether or not we know in the moment consciously why we're drawn to do certain practices, to me it's because deep down within, ultimately we're undergoing spiritual transformation in these bodies on this earth. So, and again, there's more and more teachers sharing their experience and insights and wisdom ultimately that are going to help speed things along as we share insights. So it came up for a yoga workshop I did on Saturday, and it's come through a couple times as far as, taking time, even with our practicing postures, and, what's the rush? What's the rush in trying to get to achieve some position, instead of actually enjoying the moment of feeling into the body and feeling our stress and feeling our tension, and ultimately asking ourselves to be okay with it all, to be okay with the sensations that we feel and the tensions that we're carrying and the areas that we're not fully aware of. So, slowing the process down so that we can actually take time to enjoy the moment. And that in and of itself is a real shift in our vibration, so that we're not constantly rushing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and not able to actually feel anything and experience the totality of who we are. Slowing down, slow down, feel more, think less, or at least notice the nature of your thinking mind, and really dig deep within yourself, sort of beyond the thoughts, and be discerning. Pick and choose the thoughts that serve you, and spend time going inward to feel and sense your own self. And the other thing is about really enabling us to share what we're holding within in a way that really serves one another. And that to me is part, again, of a mass evolution, a mass awakening, where veils of illusion are being peeled back. And I truly believe this is sort of a tandem thing, that we're not just doing this, that it's happening to us as well, that it's an integral part of our interconnectivity, that as more and more people awaken to a broader perspective, then that naturally ushers other people along as well down that path. And a lot of resistance that arises within us is really our attachment to meaning and words, and thinking, oh, I don't want to do that because of this word, so it's spiritual, or it's there's dogma or stigmas attached to certain words that make us think, oh, I can't do that, I don't want to do that, but ultimately we're still being drawn to it. So dropping a lot of the judgments we have about words and certain things that we engage in, and actually just getting to know who we are. So getting to know who you are, however you choose to do that, is up to you. You can sit in silence, you can journal, you can read books, anything that makes you feel good and makes you get a deeper sense of who you are is really positive during these times. And so these two things link together as far as, slowing down and honing in on who you are. You can call it a spiritual practice if you like. To me, it's just life. It's just an exploration of this life from a standpoint of making it better for everybody. So it's not about financial gain, it's not about external attention or recognition, it's just purely about how can we make the world as good as possible for as many as possible? Or heck, why not just, how can we make the world great for everybody? Because I truly believe that's there for us, that we have the wisdom, we have the insight and the knowledge to actually find systems, and maybe we don't even need systems, just find ways of being within yourself that you can love and accept everybody, so that whenever you're being called to be of service to another human being, that you can be of service to them, that we're not constantly bogged down by the systems that are in place currently. Okay, so that really does tie in with our economic system, because what's coming through a lot is the reality that this economic system is not going to serve us forever. And recognizing beyond this idea of an external financial system, that it's really just coming down to people. We're all just people, okay? And yeah, there's businesses and there's governments and there's institutions, but all of these things, businesses, institutions, organizations, are driven by people. Okay, they're just people, and then we put words around the things that these people are doing, and we call it a business or we call it an institution. Okay, but really what happens is that we can get all lost in these pieces of paper, or these contractual obligations that we have between people that create these organizations, institutions, and businesses, and then ultimately we put that first, rather than putting our intentions first, rather than putting an integral formula that we all want to join together and say, let's create these things that uphold the well-being of the totality of the earth, and of the population, the people, and the creatures who live on the earth. Okay, so really, to me, it's time to speak out, and there are, you have the Venus Project and Culture in Decline, Peter Joseph. There are people who are already speaking very clearly about different options. This is like the resource-based economy, or ways of functioning that actually support the integrity of the earth, and thus support the integrity of a human population on this earth. And I had chats with people yesterday at a party, and really kind of serious chats about the fact that we're not gonna, we're not here to wait for some kind of economic collapse. However, as and when these things unfold, we know that, or I'm under the understanding oftentimes, that we encounter and we create suffering in our lives in order to wake up, in order to wake up to solutions, wake up to a broader reality that is much more life-enhancing. So it's really a choice. It's a choice that you make, to wake up and create new ways of being here now, or to wait for chaos, to wait for suffering, and to wait for big catastrophes on a global scale. Because as we know, this economic system is a global thing, right? So what we need to create is a global solution. And that's going to be really happening from expressing our integrity, expressing our truth, and understanding that through the expression, through putting ourselves out there, then we'll attract the people, places, and things that will align with our belief system and enable us to communicate these things on a broader level. So that more and more of us, so to me, part of creating systems for community living means that the community thus supports itself. The community can grow food, the community can create online shopping systems, ways of bringing in abundance, sharing their models with others in a way of trading and supporting a very abundant lifestyle, but also, that old expression, hippie communes, but today, in a modern way where there's no stigmas around consumption or substance abuse. It's really just, harmonious living, and openly communicative, so that there is mindfulness as the basis of communication, and self-responsibility, self-sovereignty. So it really is about spiritual transformation. It's about transforming our mindset to get over the other way, to get over the fact that, yeah, we've created a system that was of use for a certain amount of time, but it's not working anymore, and not getting really attached to it, not overcomplicating things, because that's something, I think that's a real block for humanity in our minds, is that it's so big that we just think, no, I'm not going to touch that, somebody else will deal with it, right? But really, what I believe is that every single one of us has a purpose in this transformation. And if we're meditating, or if we're going within and we're looking within, what happens is that a lot of us are finding really similar solutions. Let's find tribes. Let's find groups of people to live together so that we can all support one another in a way that is prosperous, abundant, loving, peaceful, super happy. Because to me as well, part of the shift and part of the transition, it is a very spiritual thing, is that on a vibrational level, the more communities you have, high vibing, high flying communities that you have coming together, living in a truly harmonious way, now that will vibrationally help to shift the outside, the communities that haven't shifted yet. That vibrational rise will kind of naturally attract people in. And so the more and more people that begin to have and really follow through with spiritual transformation, the more that pathway will open up for other people, for other mass amounts of people. And then once they realize that spiritual transformation makes you a happier, more blissful, more a creative force in the world, the more and more people who will choose that. Rather than staying blocked in fear and giving power away to these institutions and external bodies, which claim a lot more power than they actually inherently have. So this is about empowering one another, uplifting one another, sharing love, experiences, all that kind of stuff, but at the same time recognizing that we're here on this planet, and there's work to be done, and work is not about enslavement, okay? Work is not about being a slave to a system that enslaves people. Working is about expressing who you are and honing in on your natural gifts and abilities. It has nothing to do with how many certificates you have. It has nothing to do with your insurance. It has nothing to do with how many degrees or master degrees or, how long you've been in education, okay? This is all about authenticity. This is about sovereignty. This is about being the truth of your signature essence of who you truly are, and sharing that true essence with the world so that we can align ourselves and co-create other models for living that serve the whole, that serve the totality. I hope you've enjoyed. Have a wonderful day and stay true to who you are. Trust your natural insight and begin this way of expressing. Trust me, it feels great. And to me, I just know, it really doesn't matter to me whether I have 2 views or 5,000 views. It's more like 2 right now. But to me, this is just a journey of, I have these inner ideas, I have these visions, I have this feeling within, everything's going to be okay. We're all going to start to awaken more and more and more quickly and exponentially. And yes, some of our old systems are going to start to break down. They have been breaking down for years now. And all of these early onset breakdowns are just about sparking people and about more and more people putting their content out into the internet, into the world, right? Into this virtual world that we've created. We're putting our content out there and saying, hey guys, what are we going to do? This is a new generation, this is the idea. Like, every generation is meant to have a revolution. It's part of a cleansing process. This one's big, okay? Because this one just isn't about separate nations overthrowing a government. No, this is a global awakening and a global evolutionary shift, a quantum leap in as far as our awareness as a global mass goes. There's going to be a lot of women rising up and claiming their inheritance, claiming their power. And not just women, men as well, but really this is about a divinity. This is about a feminine power that's been sort of closed down within us for a long, long time. And now it's about reclaiming that. Okay, so this isn't about boys and girls or anything like that. It's not about, you know, women have been oppressed for so long and now they're coming up. No, we're all totally inherently powerful all together as one. Okay, it's just that because the women's voice has been blocked down, it's time for it to rise up again. Okay, I have no doubt that there was probably times in the past where women were maybe, you know, leading and we're not that nice to the men either. So we're just playing out these this cosmic cycle. Okay, so we're all playing out this cosmic cycle, and because of how the cycle started, now it's kind of coming into completion, and we're here to balance everything out. So there's wisdom in men and there's wisdom in women, and a lot of the male wisdom has already come through. So a lot of those sparks are already kind of there for us. We've already inherently adopted that male energy. Now it's time to really absorb and transform and allow to rise that feminine energy within us all, boys and girls included. So the more we come into that harmonic balance by really owning the totality of who we are, the more we can show the way to a new way, and or maybe an original state. But still, this is all within us. Because we're creating it all. We have to take responsibility for it all in a place of forgiveness. So only in my own self, by forgiving my own self for all that I have created and for all that I am, I can then be a forgiving force of the world. So I inherently and within my own heart, I forgive the entire human population, and I forgive the world, the businesses, the governments, the institutions. I forgive all that because I'm not worried about that. I'm only really concerned with unconditional love for all that is, and creating ways that from within me I'm being guided to create. So I'm not trying to get stuff. I'm not trying to be somebody. I can only really express my own alignment. And that's part of these vlogs. I don't plan the vlogs. I'm intuitively guided to share what's coming through in any given moment. There's no piece of paper here. No piece of paper here, kind of, you know. Oh, I'm going to fall that one off. There's no paper here. You know, I'm not trying to get clients or anything like that. This is just what I want to share. So I hope you've enjoyed. Okay, slowing down and looking within so that we can find different ways of operating that serves the totality. And how else, what other kind of economic systems, or do we need an economic system? Okay, and this would heavily depend on how open your mind is. Because from a certain standpoint, I feel like it's not necessary. We have technology who can do a lot of the hard work for us. And a lot more of human population could spend time playing, being creative, healing, which includes, you know, meditation and yoga and a lot of the spiritual practices, rediscovering herbs as medicine and food as medicine. So dissolving a lot of the insidious threads of our medical health service. Not that, again, it's all got a purpose, but it's about really using our intellect and discernment to decide collectively what's useful to us and what isn't useful. And then starting to implement and speak and work in a way which is going to shift it. And I know that I'm speaking to the world. I'm not necessarily speaking just to my, my yoga community in Devon, although I am here for a reason, and I feel that there's going to be initiatives started right down here in North Devon. However, the YouTube, the vlogging, this is to the whole world. This is for people in their communities, you know, in Canada and America and Africa, doing things from that standpoint, recognizing that we need massive global systematic change to actually, heal and change for the better. so that so that we can wipe out poverty for good, and so that we can wipe out war. It's my dreams. My dream is just everybody's nice to each other. Okay, have a great day, everybody. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste, peace out.
All to love. All to love.